Our next guests lead huge evangelistic crusades all around the world, speaking to hundreds of thousands of people. They're also making a tremendous impact on the lives of more than 100,000 students in Kenya. Take a look.
15 years ago, Bob Boyd and his wife Mallory started a School of Discipleship program in Western Kenya's public schools. The program has grown from 200 students to over 100,000 in 142 schools. Bob and Mallory are making a difference in a country where 1 of every 7 adults dies of AIDS. By educating their students about abstinence, HIV is on the decline. More importantly, the children are learning about God's plan for their lives.
Well, welcome back to the 700 Club, our dear friends Bob and Mallory Boyd. Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
It's great to be with you.
Thank you.
Kenya, is that 1 out of every 10 die of AIDS? Is that the deal?
That's the way it's been for many years, and of course that's leveled off because so many people have already died of AIDS, but there's still plenty of problems to solve.
Well, you've got this school over there. Tell us about this School of Discipleship.
Well, we have the opportunity to go into the schools, and you can imagine here in, for instance, Tidewater, Norfolk, we could go into Granby and Maury and all the different schools. Just imagine going in, the entire student body comes, and we have a chance to speak to them. And by going to school after school, we speak to about 10,000 students a week.
My goodness.
And then we train our staff, and we speak to about 100,000 students that way.
Fabulous. Marilyn, how did you and Bob get together?
How did we get together as far as going to Kenya?
I suppose you're going with each other.
Oh, wow.
Period.
Yeah, well, we actually met in a church, and I was sharing how I was going on staff with Campus Crusade at the time, and then call it Crew, and I asked for prayer support, and boy, I sure got it.
Yeah, well, that's more than just prayer support.
Right.
You got a husband.
I ended up not having a ride home, and guess who came to my rescue? My husband came to my rescue.
All right. Prince Charming.
Yes.
Are you in Kenya? Do you go over there with Bob?
Oh, yes. We do our ministry together. We both speak in the schools, and, you know, it's a teamwork.
What is it? I mean, Kenya is fairly open, but have there been a problem with having the gospel? They're glad to receive the message of Christ, aren't they?
Well, we actually began our overseas ministry. You know, first I was a pastor, then we started speaking to students all across America with Crew, with Campus Crusade, as a national speaker. And then when we started New Fire for Christ, we began to go overseas, and even before that. And we went to Russia, and that was a tremendous thing right after the Iron Curtain had come down years ago. And once we went to Russia and saw people literally running to come to Christ, we just thought, we've got to go overseas. I mean, this is really where the fruit is, and even more than the United States. And so we began to go to Russia, and then we went to India, and then went to Pakistan, and just saw a tremendous response to the gospel. And then, of course, we've been to Africa quite a bit as well.
Where are you headquartered? You here in the United States or in Kenya? Where's the headquarters?
The headquarters is here in Norfolk, Virginia.
Yeah, okay.
Although it's more of a launch pad. We're gone most of the time.
Well, that's tremendous. Well, have you had any difficulty over there, any persecution or anybody trying to kill you?
Well, we've had some pretty tense moments, especially in Pakistan. As you go into a Muslim culture and you're preaching the gospel, and you almost have a riot sometimes. So we haven't had one yet. We've been very blessed, and in Kenya, it's just a wide open door to go to the schools, and so we've concentrated on that because in the recent years, because of the openness and the availability, even though we continue to go to Pakistan via TV and other countries, but Kenya's been our #1 thing lately.
Well, what happened last November? Apparently some students traveled from Western Kenya to Nairobi. What happened there?
Well, we wanted to give our students a vision to not just come to Christ and be discipled. We teach them through the Bible, Genesis to Revelation, but we also wanted them to learn to be missionaries themselves. So we went to the Somalis, and there's a large Somali community in Nairobi, the capital of Kenya. And so we took them to the 2nd largest unreached people group in Africa, the ones who had come to Kenya, that is. And the Somalis, they're a tough group to reach. But we had a soccer tournament, and it's a kind of good way to break down barriers. And even one of our sons came along. We played soccer with the Somalis, and then we got them all around the field, and we got them gathered together in the field, and then we shared the gospel with them, and we saw 12 Somalis come to Christ.
Tremendous.
And after seeing tens of thousands of students come to Christ, you think 12 is not a huge number, but boy, these Somalis, they are difficult to reach. We were thrilled by that.
Well, they're hardcore Muslim, aren't they?
For the most part, yes.
And one of the most exciting part for me is actually seeing the students do the sharing their faith.
Yeah.
You know, we train them, and then they actually share their faith.
Tremendous.
And so, you know, it's just multiplication.
The world is open, isn't it? There's never been such a time to preach the gospel in the history of mankind.
It's true. And we can travel, and we can use TV, and so many ways to reach the world.
You have here a little handout. It's the unreached groups. Tell us about what you've got here. This is a statistical unreached people. What is it?
Yes, I'm glad you're mentioning it. You know, the Bible tells us in Matthew that the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached as a witness to all the nations, and then the end will come.
Correct.
And while we don't know exactly when Christ is going to return, the Bible does tell us, first we need to get the gospel to all the nations. And that word nations in the original Greek of the New Testament is ethne, or people groups. And there are about 13,000 in the world. We've reached about, well, there are about 17,000 according to the Joshua Project. And we've reached about 11,000. So there's 6,000 or so left to reach. And we are trying to focus on the Somalis, that's one of those people groups, and have our people pray for the other people groups of the world to reach them.
Well, I hear they're playing our songs. But Bob and Mallory, thank you so much.
And we wanted to offer this to people
All right.
who call in.